Hi, welcome to RCR Horsemanship. I'm Cory Furlong, and today I'm going to show you how I cue my horse bridleless. So the first thing that I want to share is about the tack that I use. So I prefer to ride with a neck rope. I think it gives me a little bit more clarity in my communication. I don't have a great suggestion on the type of neck rope. I'm using a Cordeo today. I like that it has a little bit of structure to it. I think it gives a little bit more clarity to my cues than something that's a little softer. But I've also found some leather ones that have some structure to them that I also like. But today I'm using this nice Cordeo that I got off of Etsy. And what I use the neck rope for isn't about neck reining. It's more about clarity in the communication of where I want my bend to be. So I want to be able to lay my neck rope on my horse's neck, yes, and get bend. And then I also like it as a backup for my stop. So my stop should come from my seat and my legs, but if I need to add a little bit with the neck rope, I can back her up. It's also going to be my first way to cue her for collection. So I prefer using the neck rope, but it is not about speed control. I don't use it at all for speed control, and we're gonna get to that in just a second. Good girl. So I also like using positive reinforcement in my bridleless riding. Really in any riding, I find it to be hugely beneficial. It gets the horses to really enjoy the work, to understand what we're really asking of them and not just what they're doing wrong. So I really like it. It helps with her motivation a lot. So you'll see me when I see something that I really like out of her, I will give her her bridge cue and some treats. So I'm just gonna go ahead and show you a few of my cues with the neck rope, and then I'm gonna talk a little bit about my seat and my legs and how I use those to cue her. So what I had already kind of shown was laying that neck rope on her neck. I wanna see her thinking about bending. Good, yes. I don't want her to feel like she has to move her feet when that neck rope makes contact. Oh, that's the wrong side. She'll find it. Good. I'm kind of supporting her with a little outside leg. Yes. To help with that bend. The next thing that I need is, if I'm going to ride a horse bridleless, is I need to have stop and I need to have backup. When I use my neck rope, I try to keep it really low. I don't like it coming up here because that's putting pressure right on their trachea and that's gonna hurt. So I don't want it to hurt them. I just want it to be clarity in our cues. So if I pull back on that neck rope a little bit, she should easily back up. Yes. Now my goal is that I wouldn't need to feel like I have to use the neck rope. So I want to make sure that everything also has a seat and a leg cue. So if I want to back her up with just my seat and my legs, ooh, good girl, I should be able to bring my legs forward. And if I need to wiggle them a little bit, that should also mean back up. Yes, very good. I like to have 3 different cues for my stop. I want to have well, I guess it's kind of 4. I want to have a seat and leg cue. So seat, sitting down, legs off the horse, whoa as my vocal cue, and my backup neck rope. Obviously, when we're riding bridleless, one of the biggest concerns we have is safety and being able to stop our horse. So having 3 separate cues, so seat and legs. If I just take my legs off and sit back, I should have a backup. If I say whoa, I should also have a stop, and if I pull back on my neck rope. So one of the biggest issues that I notice when people try to ride their horses bridleless is that they don't have great speed control of their horse. And a lot of us are in this habit of riding with our legs off of our horse. And that's, oh, she's gonna give us a Spanish walk. That's very nice, good offer. A lot of us are in this habit of riding with our legs braced in our stirrups and our feet off of the horse. And if we're riding like that consistently, it's really hard to distinguish between what's forward and what's stop. So we're really relying on our bridle far too much for our speed control. So what I want out of my horse is that I'm going to be able to ride with contact on my legs at all times. So if I remove that contact, my horse is going to stop. We'll go ahead and show that again. Yes, mare. Very good. All right. So I keep my legs on as I'm walking around. Good girl. If I take them off, she should stop. Yes. And notice how she also immediately goes into that backup. I don't worry as much about a stop and stand as I do a backup cue. I think that it's really important that when I ask my horse to stop, they should be thinking about going backwards. It's going to make my stop more solid. It's also going to make my stop more correct. I'll go ahead and walk her around a little bit. So notice my legs are on. Also notice that I don't need my neck rope. Legs come off. Good. And she stops. Yes. Very nice. And she gets a reward for that. I do a lot of rewarding in the beginning for the stop. I also teach this in the bridle before I ever teach it without it. So the next thing, obviously, that we need besides stopping is steering. And again, you could see that I don't really need my neck rope. If I want to steer my horse, I can get her to turn around. I can get her to go straight. I can get her to turn the other direction. Ooh, very good. And I should be able to do that off of seat and legs. So when I am asking my horse to turn in a circle, I'm actually going to bring my outside leg back a little bit. So what we kind of think about a lot of times in Western riding is that if we're steering, we want shoulder control. And a lot of people will bring that leg forward and they'll ask for the shoulder to move in. But my issue with that is then I get a horse that's diving their shoulder into that circle. And I want my horse to stay nice and upright and have some good self-carriage so that they don't feel like they're falling inward on that circle. So what my leg cues are going to do is I'm going to bring my outside leg back to try to bring this hip in, and this inside leg is going to come forward to ask the rib cage to go out. That's my initial cue to try to get some roundness in my horse. If my horse is having a hard time understanding, I use my neck rope to encourage them to bend the head. So now I've got the whole body bent on my circle. Yes, very nice. I want to be able to use that outside leg back and the inside leg forward as my cue for the bend that I want, for the circle that I want. But if I need to support with that neck rope, that's why it's there. And that's why I teach the first thing with the neck rope is bending so that I can support the head. Good. And if I want my circle to get a little tighter, I'll just kind of take my inside leg off and point my inside toe the direction I want her to go and kind of open it up for the shoulder. And we should get her into a bit of a tighter turn, which she's being a little lazy here. I need to get her moving a bit. Being a little lazy so she's not turning around quick, but rather have a lazy horse that's bridleless. Have her nice and calm rather than being anxious. Good girl. Get her moving a little bit. So if I take that inside leg off, kind of look to my inside, and I get that turn a little tighter. Then to switch directions, I just bring my other leg, right leg back. Left leg is forward for my left hand turn. And if I want a little extra bend, I'll ask with the neck rope. I'll say, hey, I want your head up, please. Good. She says, I'd rather get long and low today. Good girl. See if we can get a little bit of bend here. There she goes. Yes, thank you. So she's struggling with something like a bend. She's being a little bit more lazy. She's wanting to get long and low. I'm just going to reward her when I get that bend to try to encourage her to bend a little bit more and do those things that are harder that day. So now that I have my steering and I have a little bit of speed control with my seat and legs, I have a good stop, I want to start working in different gaits. And June being a bit of a high-strung horse, I've worked a lot on dropping that head down. And what I really want to feel when I'm riding in, let's say, a trot or a lope, is that I'm having to kind of push my horse along. I want it to feel like she's waiting for the stop and she's excited for the stop more than she's excited about where she's headed. That's gonna get her really thinking about my seat, my legs, and keeping her from running off on me. So that when I go ahead and I take my feet off, she's just looking for that stop. Good girl. And then if my cues are good, that turning position actually sets me up really nicely for the bend to pick up my leads. So I should be able to easily pick up my lead. Good girl, there we go. Get some rhythm to it there. Good girl. And again, if I ask, feet and legs come off, and I have a nice, easy stop. Yes, good girl. Very nice. Good girl. Beautiful. Again, if my legs are in the right position, I should cue that lope. And she should be able to go right into that with ease. Good girl. Good. Legs come off, and she should stop. Beautiful. So a couple things about body control is I want to make sure I have control of those hips, the rib cage, and the shoulder. And talked a little bit about it in the beginning, but I want to be able to do pretty technical work, like maybe backing a circle, having some good hip control. Or maybe I do it with shoulder control, so I ask the shoulder to come over in my back circle. And that would be, shoulder control would be my leg going forward. Hind end control would be this leg coming back. So this should be shoulder, back, end. So shoulder control is forward, hind end control is back, and then, oh, you're anticipating. And then if I want to, let's say, side pass my horse and have some good rib cage control, so if my leg is forward, that's going to be my shoulder control. If my leg is back, that's going to be my hind end control. And if my leg is right in the middle, then I should be able to get some rib cage control and get things like a side pass or a leg yield. Good. I'll face you and show that the other direction. Side pass. Good. Also notice my seat kind of drops down to that inside hip or outside hip. Good. Ooh. Other direction. There we go. Very nice. And then that neck rope is kind of helping me with my forward movement, keeping her from getting too forward in her side pass. Beautiful. And then for her, just some fun things that she does is she has a nice little Spanish walk and a rear. And I had said earlier, I don't use any cues up by the trachea. For her, I use just a little bit of a touch right here, and then I'll cue which foot I want to move. And that's going to be telling her to move her feet upward, which one I want. Good. For the Spanish walk. Good. And she does have a cue for the rear under saddle, which is lifting my neck rope up to her neck. I'm going to squeeze with both legs and give a vocal cue. Up. Good. Very nice. And that's how I ride my horses bridleless. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe. Follow me on all social media platforms under RCR Horsemanship. And we'll see you in the next video.